Hey, what's up guys? Austin back with another rowing video. And in today's video, we're going to be covering the topic of shoes and rowing and what shoes are the best for using the rowing machine. And that's because having proper footwear when you row not only is going to make your rowing more efficient, but it also is giving your body the proper support it needs so that we don't develop chronic pain or injury in things like our ankles, our knees, etc., and that we're getting a good, strong connection with each rowing stroke. So with me today, I have three styles of shoes that we're going to be looking at today, and we're going to talk about each style and how that relates to the rowing machine and why it might be a good shoe or maybe a not so good shoe for you to use while using the rowing machine. Now, before we talk about shoes, though, it's important to understand what we're looking for. And when it comes to choosing the right shoe for the rowing machine, we're looking for the shoe that's going to allow us to create the most strong and connected stroke drive each and every time. And so the first style of shoes I want to talk about are running shoes. Now here I have a pair of Nike Free Runners. They're a little bit worn down because I've used them a lot for work stuff, but they're a super comfy shoe. And with running shoes in general, yes, they vary. There's lots of different styles, as far as like heel drop goes and cushioning. But for the most part, running shoes are fairly cushiony throughout the shoe. And this soft cushion that is used to sort of shock absorb every step you take isn't necessarily going to help us provide the strongest rowing stroke possible. Because if we slip these on and then start taking some rowing strokes, if we're trying to drive super strong, super powerful, super connected rowing strokes, well, that initial push with the legs, that drive through the foot plates, if we're having this squishy cushion that we're driving through, essentially it's not letting us get as direct of a force as possible. It's being sort of dispersed throughout the shoe. It's the same sort of concept if you were wearing squishy soled running shoes for heavy weightlifting. If you were trying to squat in a type of shoe like this, again, you're not being able to direct your force directly into the foot plates. It's being distributed. It's being sort of shock absorbed out throughout the entire shoe. So in my opinion, running shoes, they're not your best choice when it comes to optimizing your stroke drive on the rowing machine. These squishy soles and this sort of squishy bottom portion of the shoe, it's not what we need for the most efficient rowing. Now, a shoe style that I think you're better off with is more of a weight training or sort of cross training shoe. Right here I have the Nike Metcons, and this shoe compared to the Free Runners, which had a very, very squishy sole, these are much more solid, hard rubber. That's, maybe not the best for impact activities such as running, but because of the solid rubber of this shoe, it allows us to create more of a strong and direct leg drive. But also just as important as the hard rubber and the ability to create a strong drive that isn't, shock absorbed or dispersed throughout a squishy sole is the ability for these shoes to flex. Because unlike traditional weight training, thinking of something like a squat or deadlifts, where we're doing these exercises with our feet planted, in the rowing machine, or while we take rowing strokes, because our feet are moving as we take the rowing stroke, we want a shoe that's able to bend and flex with us, but also, again, provide that hard sole for us to drive back with each stroke. And that's why these style of cross-training shoes are a much better option than these squishy running shoes. Now, another very common thing that you see in the gym is people wearing more sort of casual style flat shoes to do their weightlifting in. I'm thinking like the Converse All-Stars. That's a super popular weightlifting shoe because it's flat and again, it has the hard sole. And so here I have just these Vans. I don't even remember what style this is, but just kind of like your classic Van, which has the hard sole like the weightlifting shoe. But the reason why I wouldn't recommend using these compared to the weightlifting shoes goes back to that idea of the shoe flexing with us. Because if we're using these shoes to row, it's not the worst choice ever, but you're probably going to ruin your shoes because as you come up to take the rowing stroke, we're getting this flex up here with the stroke every single time, and the shoe isn't necessarily designed to flex and bend that way. And there's being no support here in the back end for that foot flexion like that. It's going to wear and tear sort of on the skin on the back of your heels, and it's going to destroy your shoes in the process. So a shoe like this, a casual, flat, hard-soled shoe, not the best option. Now there's one option though that we have not talked about yet, and a very, very common option that a ton of rowers use, especially a lot of the high-end rowers, and that is rowing without socks, without shoes. Something you also see when it comes to weightlifting is people just doing these exercises barefoot, because if you're trying to get a full connection to each rowing stroke or to each drive, well, how can you get a more fuller connection than with using your own feet against the foot plates? Now, this is a totally viable option. The only thing you'll need to do is you'll have to raise up the foot plates a little bit, because we're always aiming for the strap to go around the ball of your foot, or sort of around the widest part of your foot. So you would need to adjust your foot plates on each side for that. And if you don't want to get any sort of wearing on the back of your heel here, or if your feet get really sweaty and they keep slipping out of the foot plates like this, you might want to add a little bit of duct tape to the heel portion. But this serves as a very viable option to create strong, completely connected rowing strokes. So, I mean, if you're on a budget, you don't even want to get shoes, you can always row barefoot. So these are just some general ideas for different shoe styles, different things to wear while using the rowing machine. You know what I don't recommend? Flip-flops, okay? Don't wear flip-flops or Crocs while you row. Again, going through those three main styles, the running shoe, the cross-training shoe, and sort of the casual hard-soled shoe. The cross-training shoe, in my opinion, is going to be your best bet, because it allows the shoe to flex with you as you row, and it gives you that hard, solid surface to drive back very efficiently. Barefoot is also a great option, and so I would suggest those two as your main go-to shoe styles, even though barefoot's not a shoe style, to go for those for when using the rowing machine. So that's my insight, my take at using shoes for the rowing machine. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you wear while you use the rowing machine, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more content if you're interested in more rowing and health and fitness related stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next video.